Hey, so let's talk about jazz. And in fact, I've got a few pictures here, but first I want to introduce a friend of yours, kind of a surprise guest. If we can find her and bring her in. Do you recognize this lady?
Oh my God!
Hey, thanks for having me.
Sandy Shore, everybody.
So
it's thrilling to be here with you. I'm lost in the stories, MT. I'm just lost in them.
Oh man, I have too many, and if it gets boring, it's like
no way.
With my own family, I've hammered all these stories from my youth, and my kids know them by heart. Man, it's like, it's kind of the telling. You tell, they're aware of. Some kids don't know anything about their parents' childhood and stuff, but hey Sam. But I've always sort of been, very like I hold on to these stories and stuff like little gems,
Yes,
because I got to experience it. I mean, hell, I didn't think I would get to do this for the life I ended up having.
Like everyone else who's watching right now, I'm a massive Michael Thompson fan. And when we did the first Jazz Weekender, and Michael's part of Nathan's, band, I remember we had a conversation, MT, and I said, "You're amazing, the way you play. I know you have a rock pop background, but the sensibilities are incredible in jazz as well." And he told me that he studied jazz, went to Berkeley, and that was so he could increase his color palette on his rock and pop stuff.
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me. I thought that's just really brilliant,
Hey, Sandy, will you do me a favor? Nathan is saying hello to you, Sandy, by the way.
Yes,
but I want to make sure everybody on the listening in understands your authority in this genre. How's that? So if you wouldn't mind just giving us a little bit of your background, it's just a tremendous story.
Absolutely. Well, I started in radio at 15 as a DJ. And shortly after that, I actually played some of the Michael Thompson Band's records back in the day when I was doing rock and pop as well. And then ended up getting an amazing gig in Los Angeles on the Wave. And that was the first radio station to really ever commercially play what we call contemporary jazz or fusion. And so that was my introduction to the music. And then I ended up moving up to Monterey, where I'm originally from, to program several stations. And while that was all going on in the 90s, started up some concert production in our beautiful community up here in Northern California. And Nathan and I have known each other since the start of Foreplay many years ago. And we ended up encountering each other at a festival in Oregon. I should also mention to you that I started smoothjazz.com when I moved back to Monterey in the early mid 90s. We started to experiment with streaming audio. And in 2000, smoothjazz.com became the first ever jazz station to broadcast globally on the internet without an FM frequency. So it was an interesting time. It was an adventurous time. And now 21 years later, we have some 20 million listeners around the world in over 200 countries. So it's the little train that could, if you if you think about it, And so Nathan and I popped into each other. We ran into each other at an event, a jazz festival in Oregon, in Portland, that my company was sponsoring. We ended up having dinner that night and talked about doing something fun and different and unique. And that was the Jazz Weekender that we kind of created in our minds that night, a festival that was intimate and personal and featured some of the best musicians in the world. And then rather than swapping out bands and all this big production stuff, what if we made it like for only 250 people and we had the world's greatest band and special guests? And that's when MT was, first choice on guitar, Steve Ferroni on drums, and Greg Fillinganes on keys, and of course Nathan hosting the event. And we invited Boz Scaggs that year, and Mesa, and we had Rick Braun there. So we kind of mixed it up, the best of the pop, best of jazz, contemporary jazz, and it became a thing. It became a thing till COVID.
Yeah, until COVID. Well, Sandy, as you know, Debbie and I did hike up to Carmel right before COVID and saw that last Weekender that you held up in Carmel, and it was so fun. And to your point, the room was so intimate and all the musicians were so approachable. You could talk to them, visit with them, and discuss really everything that was going on. So it was a tremendous treat for anybody who likes that kind of stuff. Now, Nathan, 2 months ago, was on this same show, and he really broke the story about the Tahiti, I'm going to call it boat ride. Let's call it yacht ride.
Yeah.
So Debbie and I, have signed up for it, but I've also had a couple of friends. I've got a great friend, Leslie, out in Houston, who signed up for it. My brother, Bill, I just mentioned, who got jacked up in the car accident. He's signed up for it with his wife, Vivian. And we've got a few more who've committed. So it should be a lot of fun. But if you want to talk about that, we'd love to hear about it.
It's my pleasure. And I appreciate both of you guys letting me come in and talk about it. We have an amazing travel agency here in Carmel, Monterey area that happened to attend the event just like you did, Mark. And they came up to us afterwards and said, what if we charter a ship in Tahiti, which is a big bucket list destination for so many of us, what Tahiti gets in a year, Hawaii gets in a month. So it's very pristine. It's beautiful. This ship is the MS Paul Gauguin. It was voted by Condé Nast the world's #1 mid-sized cruise ship. Only 300 people on board. That's including the musicians and team. And it will sail from Papeete to Bora Bora, Moorea, and some wonderful private motus. This is April 23rd through the 30th of 2022. We did move it because of COVID. And Nathan's, we like to call him the house band. It's just the greatest guys in the world, with Michael and Steve on drums and Greg filling gains, on keys. And then, of course, Nathan hosting. But on top of that, I'm excited to tell you that Foreplay is getting back together for this cruise with Bob James and Harvey Mason will be there. And the special guest guitarist is Robin Ford. What's going to happen there, Michael?
Goodness.
What's going to happen there?
That's big.
Oh,
That's
man.
really big.
You know what? I've never met Robin.
Wow.
Larry Carlton, I know him, and I've gotten to meet and hang with my heroes and everything. But Robin, we've just never crossed paths. So I thought, what could be more perfect than to be stuck on a ship with him, man,
I know. And you're going to have to grow your hair back because Robin's got the hair.
Yeah.
He's got the hair. So in addition to that, we've invited Patty Austin, a dear friend of everybody's, and Ray Parker Jr. is coming.
Ray Parker in the house.
And and we've got some incredible new artists, because on smoothjazz.com, we introduce a lot of new breaking artists, like a wonderkind from, he's originally from South Africa. Justin Lee Schultz will be there, who they're calling the next Stevie Wonder. And this kid's unreal. So he'll be there with his family. His sister plays drums and Justin plays keyboards, but he actually plays everything. So Michael, don't leave your guitar lying around, because
oh man, I want to hear
it's dangerous. And then some other folks coming, but it's just going to be an amazing experience. And for more information on this, visit jazzweekender.com. And then you can find the contact info for Carmel Monterey Travel, and we will set you up. I just found out yesterday that they've sold out of a category already. So it's important to book soon, because there's only 300 folks on board the whole time.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Sandy, thank you so much. I appreciate